Good morning. It's sailing day. Yeah, it's time. It's time to leave Sydney. Man, I've had a good time while I've been here. The other afternoon, Lou and I were able to go for a sunset sail around the harbour. That was absolutely spectacular. I've had a blast. It's time to go, getting itchy feet again. And today's sailing day, I'm just gonna make that hop up to Pittwater, so out in the ocean. Once I get out there, it should only be about 2 hours, so it's still gonna be a whole day realistically. By the time I get the boat ready, get out of Sydney Harbour, sail up, get back into Pittwater and find a place to anchor, that's just gonna be a whole day. That's always the way it is. So looking forward to it. There should be a fair bit of wind after I leave Sydney Harbour, in between 20 and 30 knots, maybe even a little bit more, but I'll be going downwind, so it shouldn't be too bad. But in the meantime, I've got to pull down the wind vane, the B&G wind vane, the electronic one, because I think it's getting a bit sticky, the actual directional part of it. I think it's getting a bit sticky and not really working properly. It's not surprising because I dropped it in the drink, so up the mast we go. This is my little system that I use to go up and down the mast super easy by myself, safely. I will just go up the mast steps, but this system here will follow me up. And if I was to fall or put pressure on it, it bites onto the rope. So I'm sort of hanging off that now. So it'll move in one direction basically and not move in the other until I do something special and tell it to basically. I'll show you how to do that now. I also have a second attachment point here that I put around the mast for extra safety. I don't want to put all my trust in this rope here because it's getting on, and B, I haven't checked the part that's going down through the mast. So realistically, if you're going to put your whole life in this thing, you really should be checking that first. And that's that. So I'm putting all my reliance in this one here, but realistically, I've also got this one here now as my backup. Not as much as what I thought, but yeah, definitely should be moving a bit more than that. So take it down and see if I can free it up. Check this out. Hello, Sydney. What I'll also do whilst I'm up here, just have a general look over everything. Have a look at all the, absolutely everything actually, and just make sure everything's in good working order. It would be silly to come all the way up here and not just give everything a quick look over, you know? And I've also just noticed this, what the hell? Can you see that? Did a bear take a shit on one of my solar panels? I ended up using silicone spray because there's a tiny little hole in this, and I used the pressure from the silicone spray to really get in there, and I could see there's obviously the bearing is a little bit rusty in there. Install that, finish getting the boat ready, and let's go. Done. Rightio, come on Batman, time to get to work. I think I'm ready to pull up the anchor and let's go. There is a shitload of wind out there. There's a lot. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I just leave the hatch open for now, and that reminds me that I still need to secure the anchor down. All these little tricks that we do to try not forget stuff. It's pretty cool. Once I get through this old swing bridge that's no longer active, from then on I should be able to put the headsail up and sail all the way. 30 knots. That's here in the harbour as well. Woo! Woo! Up we go. By far the fastest I've gone so far in Sydney Harbour. 5.5 knots. It's great. 7 knots before. Friggin' awesome. Yeah, so good. Oh, here we go. There you go. 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4. Just as I'm going underneath the bridge. I'm gonna have to reduce a bit of sail before I get out into the ocean for sure. But yeah, it sort of feels like that sail quite ominous, because right now I'm like in calm water going, woo, how good's this? 4 hours later. Ah! We'll see. Goodbye, Sydney. Well, it works. I'm like, why is the hatch open? Oh yeah, I've got to go secure that. Got to go secure the anchor. One last look at Sydney Harbour before I leave. Just coming through the heads now, and there's this wall of ominousness. Hoping the winds calm down a little bit so I can furl in the headsail. Doing about 8 knots. 8 knots in between the surfs. Going quite quickly. Still doesn't feel too bad. I'm definitely having to fight it a little bit. I shouldn't have so much sail out, but I'll just ride this out for a little bit. Hopefully it calms down. Knots is the biggest I've seen. Yeah, it's a lot. It's so crazy how the wind has died down from gusting to above 50 down to gusting to mid 30s. And it's crazy, the contrast. It sort of feels like a bit of a Sunday stroll at the moment. I managed to get in a little bit of head sail, so I've only got a small amount out at the moment. Yeah, much more manageable. Much more enjoyable. It's pretty cold, but pure adrenaline is keeping me nice and warm for sure. Definitely got a bit sporty there for a moment. Just in the lee of this this headland, so pretty soon that wind should fill in again as I sort of round that corner up there. If the headland looks close on film, it is. It's really close. I'm going a little bit closer than what I normally would, because I'm on the right side of the island as far as the wind is concerned, and I want to get in and anchor before the sun sets, before I lose the light. Well, unfortunately, I'm not gonna make it. The GoPro looking so good in low light, it is actually darker than what it looks. But yeah, I am almost there. I reckon, I don't know, I'll be anchored and starting to pack the boat up in about half an hour. I'm not 100% sure whether I'll be sailing tomorrow, because I think the initial plan was to get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, but I really need to see exactly how far it is, because I've got to time it coming into Swansea and then getting into Lake Macquarie. It's obviously a bar crossing, and also the tides and stuff, so Always got to time it with the tides, being electric. Well, that is that for another video. I just wanted to share some thoughts on exactly what happened there. I wasn't really able to capture a lot of it on film, and as many of you know, the GoPro especially, but any camera just will not do it justice into how hectic it is actually out there. The waves weren't particularly that big, but they look they look non-existent on the actual footage. So I knew there was going to be low 30s. I did not expect to have sort of in the 50s of wind. I got caught out. I had too much sail up, and then I was caught out in a situation where I couldn't really leave the helm without seriously rounding up into the wind. And so I knew the wind was going to die off. So this was one mistake that I made. First of all, I got caught out with too much headsail up. I should have wound it in much earlier. Second of all, I knew the wind was going to die off. So instead of just sorting it out right there and then, I just rode it out and hoped that I could just be on the helm and just ride it out until the wind died off a little bit. And what ended up happening was, I didn't actually catch this on film, I lost the boat. It rounded up. The headsail was just absolutely flogging in, like, sort of, I don't know what that gust was. It was definitely at least high 40s. And I thought, well, if I've lost it now and the headsail's flapping around, I might as well wind it in. So I wound in some headsail as quickly as I could. And whilst I'm doing this, I'm looking up at the headsail, and with the amount that it was thrashing about, I just thought, this is coming down. My whole rig is coming down. There's no way what I'm looking at right now, there's no way it can withstand the shit that I was seeing. Felt like an eternity. Probably only lasted about 30 seconds, like the whole procedure of accidentally rounding up and the headsail flogging and winding it in, and then I was back on course. And then after I was back on course, then it was a lot easier to control. It was a lot nicer. I was a lot less stressed out. And I am so glad that actually there wasn't a massive sea state, because if there was, that could have easily been, you know, a lot worse. So right now I'm in Port Stephens, and that actual sail was about a month ago. I have been I've got like PTSD from that little moment. Not that anything went wrong, but it was just like a bit of a rap on the knuckles, you know, like shorten sail early. I know everybody knows this, and you see it in every YouTube video, shorten the sail quickly, and all the podcasts are saying the same thing. But yeah, I just got caught out, and that was my time to get caught out and learn that. And I've just got some stats here that I wanted to share with you as well. My average speed over the whole, so my trip log for all the trips I've ever done, my average speed is 4 knots. That seems quite slow. I actually feel like I'm going a lot quicker than that. Like whenever I look down at the thing, I'm always doing about 5 or 6, but it seems to average out on the whole about 4 knots. I'm not sure how that works, but yeah, I feel like I'm going quicker, but 4 knots is my average. On this particular day that you just saw, my average speed was 5.3 knots and my max speed was 12.7. That's obviously over ground, not through the water. And then the following day, you'll see this in the next video, the following day I averaged 5.1 knots and a max speed of 10.6. So the whole day, there was a difference of an average speed between 5.3 and 5.1. An average of 5.3, I was out of control and scared the whole time. An average of 5.1, I was very much in control and relaxed, and it was much more of a leisurely sail. So that just goes to show you the amount of extra force that's on the boat. My boat has a max boat speed. It's a displacement hull, so it's just not worth it. I was stressed out the whole time, and I did a 0.2 of a knot average speed increase for all that stress. We all have to experience it sometime. I knew this before this actually even happened, and now it's really hammered at home for me, and maybe this will help someone else out as well. And in the next video, I am actually into Lake Macquarie and sailing around Lake Macquarie and seeing my friends for the first time in years. Yep, hope to catch you for that one. Okay, bye.